Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Livin The Dream podcast. I'm Rishi Barran. I am a course director at Full Sail University's Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting, someone who's been in the business for 15 plus years. I've had my fun. Now let's shine the light on the next generation. And one of those people is our own Curt Steele, graduate of the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. And Curt, I got to read this off my paper so I don't mess it up because you've got such long and extensive titles. All right. He is the host of the Die Hard Den, Detroit Lions fan show podcast on Fan Media Network. He's also the co-host and director of operations of Detroit Lions on the Prowl YouTube channel, correct?
That's correct.
Did I get that right?
That is correct. All
right. And I actually had to ask him about other stuff because he's had all these other things he's been involved in
yes.
In a short time since graduating. So, Curt, it's so good to have you here. We've always had a great relationship and a lot of fun since you were in my class, but appreciate you taking time out of all the titles and all the responsibilities you have in your life.
Yeah, thanks. The other title was assistant director of podcast over at Billy O Sports. I'm still associated with Billy O Sports. That's where Detroit Lions on the Prowl resides, but that position kind of faded away, and I stepped back and concentrating more on content creation right now.
Well, you're doing a great job with it. Your numbers, I know, keep going up. And I've been on your show. I've watched your show. I've listened to your show. I've kind of seen a lot of it, maybe not from the start when you started the first time, but really early on when you were still developing it as a student. And it's amazing how far you've come. So thanks so much for your time.
Well, thank you very much.
So those of you who have not seen this before or listened to this before, this is the Livin The Dream podcast. The idea of this is to share someone who's gone through the journey from having a dream to now living the dream and hopefully having more dreams in the future. And over the course of this next 45 minutes or hour or so, somewhere in there, we're going to answer three big questions. How did the dream start? What's it like living the dream now? And what is the next dream that you're chasing? So, Curt, I'll start with the first one. We'll get to the other ones later, but how did this dream of becoming a sportscaster start for you?
Okay. It was a few years ago, 2016. I was getting ready to start to transition out of the Army. I retired after 26 years and back in 2016. And I was in a barbershop on Fort Bragg. I was in the actual Womack Hospital. I was there for an appointment doing the stuff to get ready for my medical exam so I can, get out of the Army. And there was a big conversation about the football season was getting ready to start, and that year the Detroit Lions were playing the Carolina Panthers down here in North Carolina, and I'm a huge Detroit Lions fan, as you can see with my headgear and then my back or green screen behind me. So we got to talking about their schedule, and they would say, well, how did you guys even get on our schedule? And I was like, you guys don't know how the NFL schedule is made? And they were like, well, no. How did it just pick it out of a hat? So I explained to this loud and boisterous group of men how the NFL schedule was made. And to that point, it was so loud in that barbershop, you really couldn't hear anything between the banter going back and forth. But I held their attention, a group of, we're talking about young to middle-aged men, and I held their attention. And even the Sports Center was on in the barbershop, and I held their attention over ESPN to explain to them how the NFL schedule was comprised. And that was the start of the dream. If I could do that in that short amount of time span where I could hold their attention just about a small thing about how the NFL schedule was made, I said, I can talk sports, and this is what I want to do. I'm getting ready to transition out of the Army, and I need the next step to go to the next level. I didn't want to go do civil service. I didn't want to go back and do the job I did in the military, even though that was an option. I was not, I want to do something big. I want to do something better, and I want to do it on a good level. So I wanted to, check out becoming a sportscaster or a sports podcaster, and that's when the dream started.
Well, that's just an amazing story, and it's so fun. It shows you how one moment in your life can really change everything. Had you thought about anything related to that before that moment?
I had never really thought about what I was going to do the next step once I got out of the Army. I knew I was going to be retiring soon, and I was like, what am I going to do? I had this, my GI Bill money was there. I can go to school, and it was like, what? One of those things where I was like, well, if I can do that, let me find a way to become a sports broadcaster or a sports journalist, one of the two, where I can talk sports. And I've always talked sports pretty much all my life. My wife always like, "Will you watching sports again? Or you always talking sports?" So I said, "Why not?" And then why not talk about the team that I love, the Detroit Lions? So I know I get a lot of flack for a lot of people. Oh, you like the Lions? Hey, that's where I'm from. I'm a diehard Lions fan. Uh, it is just bred into my DNA. So I love talking about the Detroit Lions, and I love talking about sports in general. But Detroit is, the Lions are really my passion.
That's one thing I appreciate about you, Curt, is you always seem like you're having so much fun for it. Every time you do an assignment in class, every time I watch or listen to one of your episodes, it's just that evident. Now, you mentioned your military background.
Mhm.
How did your background in the military help you with what you're doing now?
Well, I can talk to people. It helped me with my people skills. I worked 20 plus years in the finance corps, and that's a customer base where you're dealing with soldiers' pay. You have to be able to communicate with people, and their interpersonal communication skills definitely came into effect doing that in the military. And then it just helped me talk to people and just pretty much kind of command the room when you have an audience. So you can command what's going on in front of you when you're talking to an audience, and they can pay attention to you in a manner where it's not where you're overpowering, but they pay attention to what you're saying.
It's awesome to hear you say that too. Command the room. It's got to be a powerful feeling. And what many people may not know about you, and by listening to you, they would never guess, especially when
Hmm.
you talk about doing that, is that when you were younger, you dealt with some stuttering issues, and yet here
Yes.
you are as confident and putting yourself on the air every minute of every day. What gave you the confidence to pursue a career like this when that was in your background?
Uh, it was just one of those that you have to go for it. You can't let things like that hold you back. As when I was a kid, my mom put me into speech therapy, and it helped me remedy that. It still comes up every now and then, and I had struggles, especially in the program. Uh, Debbie Taylor's class was probably the toughest class for me, and that was a speech, the one where you really, your vocal training. Uh, but it taught me how to, you know, really persevere and just push through. And then the next class with Christine, which it kind of just gave me my rhythm and timing back and things of that nature. And I just have fun with it. So one thing I definitely learned in Debbie's class was don't take it, work hard, but then just don't take it your vices and things that you hold that you can hold you back. Don't take it so seriously. Don't let it hold you back. Have fun, breathe through it, and just get confident with what you're doing. And you have people that still have in this industry that are professionals that are on TV every day, still using filler words and things of that nature. And I try not to do that, but yeah, it happens. But I don't make it where it's a crutch and it holds me back from doing what I want to do. And that's, be on YouTube every day, 5 days a week, talking Detroit Lions, or be on Fan Media Network hosting shows. And uh, just doing those things helps me go out there and do what I love. I mean, it's not a job. It's what I love to do. I can't look at this as oh, this is a job. No, this is a career. A job is something you do to pay the bills. A career is something that you love and you like to build towards.
Well said. And I like that you pointed out that you've got to be kind to yourself. I think you're a perfectionist. I'm a perfectionist. A lot of people in our program are. And one of the difficult things about being that is it's easy to, if you make a mistake, get down on yourself. And you should be critical in terms of wanting to improve, but you also got to let it go sometimes.
Oh
And that's
yes.
really important. So,
Yeah, my wife would give me some best advice. Sometimes she would just say, "Hey, take a break, walk away, and then come back." She would take after take after take, and I still do it now. But if I want to get it right, you have to have the importance of getting it right. But you can't be so critical is that you block yourself from doing something great, or you block yourself from doing a take where you can't get it right because you've just really shut yourself down by being over emotional about what you're trying to do. I do a promo video every morning, and I do it as an ad lib. I have a rhythm with it. I already know what I'm going to say. I can change the words a little bit, and I can go in and knock it out. Some days it's a breeze. I can do it in one take or two takes. Some days I got to do it in 10 takes because I want to have it right for the audience.
He's Die Hard Den host, the Die Hard Den Detroit Lions fan show on Fan Media Network. That's Curt Steele, and he is a graduate of Full Sail University's Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. You touched on Debbie Taylor's class. What brought you to us eventually?
Okay. Now, here's the long and short of it is I was going to a school, Mississippi College, and it's in Clinton, Mississippi. I was online. I researched the school because it was a school that was pretty good for tuition, and they were known to have a decent online program. But what I did not know is that their communications department online wasn't quite what I was looking for. It was slow paced, and the professor that was the head of the department taught the lessons as if it was a brick and mortar. So we were having like 5 lectures a week. You have to listen to these lectures like 2 or 3 hours a day. Listen to this guy just talk about communications, and I wasn't learning what I wanted. I had a specialty in sports media, but it was like you had to find your own internship. They never really taught you anything about sports media. It was just basically a communications course, and I'm like, this is not what I want to do. So I started. This is the late. Had to be late 2017. I started looking at different courses to take. I'm like, nah, I can't stay here. At the beginning of 2018, I found the Dan Patrick School. Had to be the spring, and I'm like, I found it online. I'm like, oh yeah, this is it. This is it right here. And I called the school, and I got the information, and I don't know who this guy is, but he can sell water to a well. He sold me the program, and we talked for about 2 hours. And I called my advisor at Mississippi College. He said, "Yes, I heard of Full Sail," and he said, "Yes, I've heard they're starting that program over there." He said, "I know you're a senior, but if this is something you want to do, I wouldn't waste your money staying here."
Huh.
So I was a senior. I had like
Wow.
1 year left, and I went all the way back to start over fresh at the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting because that's what I wanted to do. You guys, the pitch was we're going to teach you everything you need to know and give you the equipment to do everything you need to do right here at Full Sail. I couldn't pass it up.
And then you came, and one thing I know that you were very pleased with was you had a good support system with Joe Branham and Michael Neal Jr. eventually, and several others.
Yes.
What was it like going through the program with people you didn't know when you started who became some of your best friends?
Oh my goodness, those guys. I know we had a couple different nicknames, especially with myself and Joe and Mike. Big Three, some people called us that on campus. That support system with those guys was the best thing. If you listen to me, if you're an online student, find you a group of individuals to lean on. Most likely they're going to be in your classes anyway, because you guys are going to start the program similarly. You guys are going to go through the same amount of courses at the same time. A lot of times that helps because you can bounce ideas off each other. You can look at each other's work. You don't know how many times that Joe and I or Mike and I, or we look at each other's work. Hey, that was good. Or, hey, man, you might want to change this a little bit. Or you kind of did this last time. You might want to do this different. And just to give that peer review, and then we just kind of reviewed each other's work. We told each other when we were doing good, and we were honest and told each other when we weren't doing that well. Hey, man, you need to step it up a little bit. And you can tell by just when we graduated, myself, Joe, and Mike, the big three, we took home for that online class. We took home every award just between the three of us. We took home every award, which was between the three of us. Mike was the valedictorian, I was a salutatorian, and Joe got another award as well. So we pushed each other so hard, but that support system was so good because you weren't going through it by yourself. And it's lonely being an online student in this program if you're trying to just go through things by yourself. And I look at some of the guys that I kind of looked at, I reached back to at Full Sail. They're the hosts of the Rough Cup
Hmm.
Sportscast.
Yeah.
I put those guys on Belly Up. They're on Belly Up now because I reached back to those guys and I shared those experiences, and they did the same thing. They got a group of guys, they got together, and I liked what they're building, and their guys are doing really, really well.
Well, that's what's exciting, Curt, is now, all this hard work is culminating with its building, right?
Right.
So when I started, the only person on the row of instructors was Jeff Schetzel. So when I started, Jeff Schetzel was there by himself, and Gus's office is in another spot. So most of the day, Jeff would just be sitting by himself. And then I got there, and it was me and Jeff. And then Mark Condren was sitting next to me, and then so on and so forth. We didn't have any graduates, obviously, for a long while because no one had gone through the program. Then we had graduates. They started getting jobs. And now people like you are helping the younger generation, and that's what's really going to make this special. And that's why I think
Right.
that we have such a family atmosphere here, which I love.
Definitely.
I know
Yeah.
one thing. Oh, go ahead, Curt.
I had another guy that was in the program now. Chris Wright was actually an intern on Detroit Lions on the Prowl for a while. He helped us do some things, and just helped him in the industry and helped him do some things where, hey, some behind the scenes, production assistant type of deal. And I really wanted to help the guys that are in the program because it's hard for sometimes for the online students to get internships and things of that nature where they're working outside of the program, where some of the campus students, they can go work at what's the Rollins and do things of that
Yeah.
nature. So I wanted to create an atmosphere where I can reach out to some of the guys and try to help those online students get some internships as well. So it's just fun to reach back because Dan Patrick School is my family. I'm a sailor for life. I'm a graduate and I love the Dan Patrick School.
Well, we're so glad to hear that because we've loved working with you. That's what's made it special for people like me, Curt, is to have people like you not only enjoy the program, but then go out and do. That's why you're here, right? Do what you want to
Right.
do afterward.
Right.
I know one thing you've always been a big advocate of. In fact, I would say out of any student I've had, the biggest advocate of professional organizations, and whether it be NABJ or
Mhm.
other organizations you've been involved with, how have those helped you grow as a sportscaster?
Uh, Definitely want to get out there and network. Um, you can meet people in the industry that's going to help you in the future, and they can just give you a kind word, a piece of advice, or you know, mentorship, or just actually this is the experience of this being around people in the industry. Sometimes that just helps you see your goals and what you want to do. And it's so funny that I met a guy. He's not in the sports, but he's in the entertainment industry. I had a chance to meet Roy Wood Jr. and it's one of the nicest guys I ever met. If you don't know who he is in people, he's on the Daily Show, which is still kind of on hiatus because of the COVID thing. But he's a comedian, and when I met him, he treated me like I've known him my whole life, and I wasn't a stranger to him. I think he thought I was somebody else, but I mean, it was just that great of an experience where I got to meet someone who's, on a cable TV show, and he was the nicest guy that I could have ever imagined. And he's always been one of those guys I can use as a sounding board and just network because you're going to get some people who want to help you because they want to reach back and help another person who I had the honor of meeting through you was Jay Harris from ESPN, and I still have his number. I text him, from time to time. He always offers me sound advice, and one of the biggest things that he said to me about podcasting is that he said, "Listen to your show, and to listen to the shows that you listen to." He said, if your show isn't in that realm, you need to do what you need to do to get it there. So you need to look at what you're listening to and say, is this entertaining? Is your show fast enough? Is your show, are you holding your audience attention? Those are the things that are invaluable when you're networking with professionals. And I have to say, I know it sounds cheesy, but my man Rishi was my mentor. I took him on as a mentor from the when I was in school, I think I asked for your number in that first class of the was that broadcast writing, and I was like, hey, I need the extra mentorship, and thank you for taking me on as a mentee because your your kind words and helping me throughout my career has helped a lot, Rishi, and I appreciate what you do for me.
Well, that means a lot to me, Curt. One of the things that I think was most fulfilling for me, not just with you, but in this
Mhm.
program, was seeing you would send me your podcast and I would give you some advice. I remember one of the first things I told you was you need to have segments and make it more less of just your talking and break it up. And I know how hard you work to do that. And it's evident in your work now. Anytime I see any of your work now, it's like Curt took that one little tip and he blew it up and put his own voice on it and made it special. So that's what I
Yes,
appreciated about you, Curt.
yes, definitely. I take
Well,
that. I listen to you guys. You guys, you do this. You do this. And why wouldn't I take your advice? If you're watching or listening to this podcast and you're a student at Full Sail, listen to your instructors. I mean, they're going to tell you the right thing to do. And I've taken Dan's advice, and he always said, if you're going, one thing you should do every show is give the audience a nugget of information that they did not know. And I made a whole segment on Detroit Lions on the Prowl that's just a nugget of information at the end of the show that I give, and it's called Dessert with your man Curt.
love it. And I love your names. Everything that you have, the way you name your segments are always awesome. Curt, I wanted to ask you, what were your main takeaways from the program overall?
I think with the things that are really that stuck out to me about the program is that the instructors are going to set you up for success. If you follow the lesson plans, you it's kind of hard for you to fail because they give you the tools to succeed. And I still use a lot of what you guys definitely have taught me into the shows I do now. Or we do a run sheet for our daily show, where or we call it a run sheet, or you guys call it rundown. We may not be as in the rundown creator, but we do it. We break it down by segments. We have it etched out. Every segment of the show is broken down. Uh, in a 30-minute show, or we try to shoot for 30 minutes, but we have everything segmented out. We have call to actions segmented and annotated in the show where it keeps us organized. And that's one thing I loved about the program. That you guys taught us how to organize ourselves. And one of the biggest things, especially in the podcasting industry or YouTubing, is make sure you have a call to action with your audience, and
Mm.
make sure you have a niche audience as well. And you guys that was one of the things. You got to know who you're talking to in this business. If you're in a local market, you speak to your local market. Those people who have students in that play at the high school or play at the high school. If you're a local sportscaster, speak to that audience. If you're at a national level, speak, or regional level, speak to those professional teams, those college teams. Speak to those fans because they want to hear from you about their favorite teams. Or on a national level, you have to be able to speak to your fan base and keep them interested in what you're saying. And that is, you can't just be fluff. You have to be entertaining and have fun. I mean, you guys, you a stickler on what we do as far as grades are concerned, but you want us to have fun. If I'm not smiling, I'm not having fun. If I'm talking sports, this is if you want to do sports, you should be having fun. I don't care if your team is 0-16, and I've been through that.
Yeah,
You
you've
gotta
been
have
there.
fun with it. We're on a down period right now in Detroit, but I always have
A
fun.
down period. What, 50
Yeah.
years what's a
Hey,
period?
hey, a down. Hey,
Your
it
whole
is what.
life?
Hey, since I've been on this earth, I'll be 50 next year.
I'm just
So,
kidding you, man.
but you know what though? Through the ups and downs and everything, I still love talking Detroit Lions because of the fact that it's so much to the industry. It's so much to get into players' backgrounds and to find out about a player, where he's from, what's going on with him, what he does well, 40 times and statistics, that stuff. Uh, you can get into all that stuff in the analytics, but what's he like as a person? Does he does do charity work? Does he uh do things in the community? What's his family like? You have to research these because they're people. We talk about them like, they're just pawns on the chessboard, but they're actual people. And you hear stories and you're able to give nuggets of information about players or coaches that is outside of what people normally see about them, it's great to give them that background.
We're talking with the co-host and director of operations for the Detroit Lions on the Prowl show, Curt Steele. I like when he would come give me a phone call. I was like, "It's your man, Curt Steele." I always look forward to that.
Yeah,
It's
I
time for
love that.
it's time for my next big question for you
What you
now,
got?
Curt. And this is the biggest one, right? What's it
All
like to
right.
be living the dream right now?
Wow. You know what? It's really exciting right now over at Detroit Lions on the Prowl. And the main reason is being is that we're getting noticed by sponsors, and they're not going through our network to, reach out to us about advertising or doing things on our show. They're reaching out to us directly. We have sports betting apps. We have personal grooming. We're getting where generating some. We're starting to generate some income. It's been slow, but we're growing membership. And the biggest thing is for us is that we interact with our listeners. We don't call them fans. We don't call them family. They're Proud Nation. They're part of a family for us, and that is the next exciting step. Growing our network, growing our channel. That we keep growing list. People, viewers, they keep coming back to the show, and we grow exponentially each day. Where we're gaining subscribers, and the NFL season starting just makes it even that much better and bigger because you're gonna get some people who you're gonna stay. Gonna have people that are gonna stay all the time. But when you get people that they like what you do and they enjoy your content, it really really helps. We've had Lions fans comment on our YouTube channel that have been watching the Lions since the 50s. We had a comment for a person who said, "I've been watching the Lions since 55." I'm like, how are you? And this person, we're on a YouTube channel. So you have a person that age watching us on YouTube. We're doing something right. When you're doing something right, um, it's exciting to grow and become part of something bigger. And the next step, we're on a good size podcast network. But I think the being part of living the dream is definitely want to reach out more and maybe get more of a national platform. But we love what we have right now, and we it's just not work for me. I get up every morning. We do this show at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
You know, and it premieres at 11 o'clock in the afternoon. It's called Lunchtime Detroit Lions Talk, presented by Detroit Lions on the Prowl. And we talk to people during their lunch hour, and we live chat with the audience while the show is premiering. And that's so exciting to interact with the fan base. And then we read the comments on the YouTube channel on the next show. We select six, and you don't know how good it feels when people um, recognize you. Or I've had soldiers recognize me from Facebook. Hey, aren't you the guy that's on the YouTube channel? Or don't you? Hey, I recognize you. You're the Lions. Or I walk into the local Walmart and there's this. I've had a fan. Hey, aren't you the Lions guy? Don't you got a Lions show? Yes. Or I have a shirt on, which is part of our merchandise for our channel,
Oh yeah. Hold that up. Let's move away from your
it
microphone.
says
I want
what
one.
up
I
though.
want one of those.
It says what up though
How
on.
do I get one of those?
Okay, I'll send you the link. Go over to lionsontheprowlshop.com. You can
Okay.
get one of these. And
It's
I
not
had it on the other
$100,
day.
is it? It's not
Oh no, it's
$100.
about $25. You can get one. It's over on Teespring. We have a shop over there. We have caps, mugs. We have several different shirts. We got kneecap biter shirt, but this one, uh, I found that people from Detroit and people from Michigan, that's a greeting we say what up though, and it's just like it's just it's just asking people, hey, what's up? But we say what up though. So when I say it on the show, and that's how I spell on the shirt, I bring that energy to the show, and I say what up though, and I bring it. And that is starts the show. You could feel the energy pumping through the show when I bring that in, and our audience loves it, and they really take to it. And I do a couple other things that I give them the inspirational at the end of the show. I tell them if whatever you do in life, you got to boss up, ball out, and be the best version of you that you can be. And touching people with that. And I've had people text me or Facebook Messenger and tell me to boss up and ball out, and they reaching those individuals and being part of something that's bigger than me, where we can connect with our audience, is the absolute dream.
Yeah, it's got to feel good to make somebody else's day a little happier, to enjoy making that connection with people, to have people point you out in the store, and most of all, to have your face on your own shirt. So there's nothing better than that.
You know, I had it on at the register, and the cashier said, "Is
You
that
had it
you?"
on at the store. Oh my
She
God.
said, "Is that you?" I said, "Yes, it's part of my show." And she asked me, "Well, how did you do that?" And you know, I just
And then you
and
brought them back to staying up till 3 a.m. getting your discussion posts done, right?
I've had talked to some people about Full Sail, about becoming part of the program. Hey, what do I need to do? How did you went to school for that? Where did you go? I went to Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. I went to Full Sail. I said, you can go on campus, you can go online. I said they're gonna teach you what you need to know. If you want to do play by play, they'll teach you that. If you want to do podcasting, they'll teach you that. If you want to work behind the scenes, they'll teach you that. That's one thing I loved about the program, is you guys taught us everything we need to know about being in the industry, and you can pick your niche on what you're good at in the program. It doesn't matter if you're online or if you're a campus student. You're gonna find your niche at Full Sail.
We're talking to Curt Steele. One thing that I actually brought you up yesterday in my online Zoom session, because I was telling him about how you told me that I could get a student discount on NFL Sunday Ticket, and one
Yeah.
of them didn't know it, and he's
Uh-huh.
signing up, and another one already is signed up, and he's calling them to see if he can get his discount because he didn't already. But
Yeah.
one thing I wanted to ask you, speaking of money, is the business
Mhm.
side of this, right? And I'm sure
Mhm.
the broadcasting part is the easy thing, but we have a lot of people who like podcasting and they want to be
Mhm.
podcasters. How have you been able to adjust with the challenges that come with the business side of it and growing your audience?
The business side and growing the audience, that is the key. You have to be able to be resilient, because you're going to get frustrated. First starting out, you're not going to you're going to have low numbers. uh you're not going to be able to look at it and see like, oh, what am I doing? But what you do have to do is you have to get into your social media marketing, and you get into your SEO. That's a big part of where I took away from the program. Your social engagement, definitely. Your search engine optimization, using your tags, definitely would get you noticed and get your content, more listeners, and you get like you'll start getting the notice from either podcast networks or maybe some sponsors like the Rough Cut guys. I knew their content was good. I watched their content on the when they put it on the full page. So I'm like, why not these guys? I recruited them for a network because of their talent, and then they were able to expand their audience from there. On the YouTube side, um, I think interaction with your audience definitely will help you grow. Um, you have to be talented as far as engagement into your audience. You have to be able to engage them, pull them in, and make them feel part of something, that they're part of your show. That's one thing I like. I love making sure that the audience is part of my show. One thing that, as I took from one of my classmates, Joe Branham, he does it differently. He does, on his show, the Ram Showcase, he does fan cases, which is his fan questions, which is an interaction where we ask one question a show, and then we take the audience's comments and put them on the next show. But fan interaction is definitely get you the way to grow subscriptions and get your audience out to a bigger network. If you're looking at on the podcast side, do not be afraid to join a podcast network, or to get on a platform where you can kind of grow it yourself organically, like Spreaker or things of that nature, that you can go out and you can advertise and put your show out in front of people. You're going to grow numbers that way as well. It's just one of those things where you have to stay resilient. If you're not gonna make a lot of money at first, but it's gonna come around. You're gonna generate some income. I think that one of the best ways to do that for me was to have both an audio and a video side of the industry, where yes, we grow. You can generate audience from the audio side, but sometimes the video is definitely helps because people are visual. They want to see you. They want to see you what you're saying. They want to see your graphics. They want to see what you're doing on your show. If you know what you're talking about, and if you're entertaining, you can engage them. So the business side is it's tough. You have to be resilient, but just make sure that you're looking at the right avenues of approach. Like I said, if you want to get on something bigger, sometimes you got to get on a podcast network. Sometimes you got to grow with those guys. Belly Up was a great opportunity for me. I started out as their assistant director of podcasting, um, helped them grow their platform, but I kind of moved back into content creation, and I love it over there as well.
Well, one of the benefits of your job is that you get to work at home, and you might look like you're at Ford Field, but you're in North Carolina.
Yes.
You're not in Michigan right now.
Yes, and the dream of mine was to be a podcaster. I wanted to be a podcaster. Everyone joins the program for different reasons. Of course, would I love to be on TV? Yeah, I think I like what I'm doing because I can do what I do from my home. I'm retired military. Uh, I have a special needs son, and I help take care of him every day. And this keeps me in my home, and I can do what I do from right here in my residence. I don't have to go anywhere. And one thing I have to say on the business side, that I have an advantage over most people. I'm retired military. I don't have to scrape for income because I have my retirement income coming in. So when I tell you, be resilient, you may have to work a day job and do your podcasting or your YouTubing on the side until you can generate enough revenue from that show to cut your other incomes loose. But I have an advantage over a lot of people because I have my own income from being retired military. I get my disability check, I get my retirement check. I have an advantage, but you still have to stay resilient. Because you're looking at where we have merchandise now and we have sponsors now, and we're looking at the generating revenue on different avenues because we're doing on the video and the audio portion side where we have advertisers on both. So I didn't want to misrepresent myself any type of way on the business side.
I'm sure everybody appreciates that. You just mentioned your son. I know you deeply love him and you love to spend time with him. We've even seen him in a few of our Zoom sessions. He's come by a couple of times. It's always good to see
Yes.
him when he comes by. But you
Yes.
mentioned, he has special needs.
Yes.
It's good that you can be home for him. How much has that helped to be able to do what you love for your business, but also be in an environment where you can give your son all the attention that he needs?
Yes, it's good. I mean, like it's good to be able to do that. Uh, he knows when sometimes when daddy's working, so sometimes I have to take a break and deal with that. Make sure that he's taken care of. And but he's an adult. He's 24 years old. He has autism. He's on the lower side of the spectrum, so he's more severe, classified as nonverbal. But I love being around my son. Even with the headaches, and sometimes it can be. Uh, I wouldn't trade him for the world. I wouldn't change a hair on his head. You know what I'm saying? So that's my guy. So I've dedicated a lot of things to him. During Autism Awareness Month, uh, when we had our show, I wore a Autism Awareness shirt every day that I recorded. So every show, it didn't matter if I was doing a Die Hard Day in Detroit Lions on the Prowl or a guest spot on another show. I was wearing something autism awareness. A lot of times it was the Lions, um, because I find them they were Lions themed autism awareness. So it was like, two of the things I love the most is my team and my son. Of course, comes first. So if I can represent him and represent my team, I'm gonna do that. So, but it was just a great time. I mean, we do things with him. I mean, this pandemic is really rough on him right now, not being able to do a lot of things that he will want to do, travel, and we take him places, we go on cruises, and this for him to do his day to day just outside of the house things, it's just kind of hard for him right now. But being a parent of a special needs child means you're special. If you're selected to be that by God, I would say, hey, you have to be, uh, a special parent for a special child. That's what I say.
Well, and I love it. You post on your Facebook page, that it's one part of your title on your Facebook page. It means so much to you. And just wearing the shirt may not
Hmm.
seem like a big thing to you, but with the audience that you reach to a lot of people, I'm sure that means a great deal. And it also brings awareness to the
Yeah.
cause. So thank you
It,
for what you do with all that.
yeah. And I have autism parents reach out to me that are fans of the show, hey, or hey, where'd you get that shirt, or or they just want to talk to me about the being an autism parent, or it's um, what I experience. I try to offer what I can as far as an experience because my son's a little older, so sometimes it helps with the individuals that may have a younger child, and I can give them advice on, well, this is what I went through. You may not go through the same thing, but it may be similar. It may not, but this is what you may experience as a parent of a special needs child.
Curt Steele dedicates his time to that cause. He also dedicates a lot of time to a lot of shows. What are the challenges of doing more than one show?
Oh my goodness, it's it's hard. Like you have to manage it. You have to manage your time very well because of the fact that you have to, especially when you're doing it from home, because you have to manage your home life with your show life, with the things you have to do in your normal routine. You have to make sure that um, my day to cook. If I'm doing a night show, I got to have dinner prepared for the family before I go on and record. But for the most part, it can be a grind, especially with a daily show, 5 days a week, 6 o'clock in the morning for 4 days, a one live show a week, and then doing it on different networks. You have to make sure you have the right uh, backgrounds, and you're saying the right things. You're on your show. You know I've said a few times where I had to re-record some things if I'm on Die Hard. Then oh, we're on the Detroit Lions on the Prowl. I'm like, oh man, I got to mess that up. So you have to remember remember what you're doing. But it's one of those things where it's fun though. It's so much fun. It's so much fun, and it's so much fun helping people when they call you and, hey, you mind coming on my show to talk Detroit Lions? Not a problem. Uh, One of the greatest things I've had is working with Joe Branham. That's my guy.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on Ram Showcase, especially when we had the Stafford Jared Goff trade. Uh, Working with him professionally outside of school, because we did so many school projects together. Working with him on a professional level outside of school was probably one of the greatest things because we're so cool. That's my guy. Really good dude, really good show host, and working with him professionally outside of school was an honor.
Yeah, you brought up Joe. I noticed on his Facebook he's been doing like the stadium tour lately. He was, close by. Lives in Colorado Springs. I saw
Hmm.
me. He went. He's such a big Rams fan. He went to the game with the Broncos, but he also had gone out to L.A. and all that. No one's more invested. I don't know. Between you and him, you're probably two of the more invested hosts slash fans that I know. So
Right. And that was one thing that helped me when I got hired as a show host on Fan Media Network. They were looking for a fan host, but being school trained helped
mm,
me get my position. And
hmm
but they can see the passion. And when I got the position, I had to do a pilot, and the owner, the founder of the company said that's one of the best pilot shows I've seen on this network. So
awesome. Well, I know how hard you work. You deserve that, and you're getting the success you deserve because you've put the work, and I've seen you do it.
yeah.
All right, it's time for the next big question. What's the next big dream you're chasing? You're already living the dream. You're already in Ford Field, apparently, and you're hosting shows for your favorite team every day, basically.
Hmm.
What's the next big dream for you?
The next big dream for me is to actually work for to get paid by actual NFL team to do what I
Mm,
do. That's the next big dream. That's the next big dream. If it's just because you have so many media positions open in teams right now because of social media and different streaming platforms, is that they have multiple uh, job opportunities on different platforms where you can be a podcast host, or their online reporter, or work in their media department, or even behind the scenes. Another dream of mine is that I want to create opportunities for individuals as such as myself. Um, if you look at Curt Steele, you see I'm an African American male. I want to create those opportunities for minorities in sports, in the sportscasting industry. Um, I want to make sure that we have positions and opportunities in front of the camera, but also behind the scenes as well. It's not just about being in front of the camera. Sometimes we definitely need to be behind the scenes and making sure that our stories are being told in the way that they need to be told.
Love that. And that's what I love about you, Curt. You're all about giving back too. You're living your dream, but you're giving back to other people's dreams as well. So that's fantastic. In terms of the shows that you do now, what can you do to take them to the next level and enhance them?
Well, we have to keep evolving. The shows that I'm on now, I make sure that working on getting credit credentials. That's what we're working on right now. Making sure that or reaching out to teams and reaching out to the Lions personnel. Hey, we need to talk to. We want to talk to some of the players. We want to talk to some of the coaches. I don't care if I talk to somebody in the marketing department, just to have them on our platform, to talk to them and raise awareness of our show. When you get people like that on your program, people start to pay attention. We had the former Detroit Lions multimedia journalist Toria Petrie had been on the program a few times. She was a friend of Gus. She is now here in North Carolina. She resides in Charlotte. She stepped down here after 7 years with the Detroit Lions to have a new person, and just interviewing getting that credentials and interviewing bigger individuals in the organization. I had the pleasure and honor of interviewing two Lions legends here. This had to be about a couple months ago. I interviewed Herman Moore and Lomas Brown. These are Barry Sanders teammates, and the stories and the information that you got to hear from those two individuals was awesome. And one of the best things that I had that to held my hat on is the advanced interviewing skills from Full Sail. I know it sounds cheesy, but you can just, if you listen to it, you can tell the questions are just different the way I asked them because of the fact that I had the training. It's there. It's evident. I'm not saying my teammates to ask bad questions. I'm not saying that at all. But the way that the questions are asked are different. Asking leading questions. Not asking too. Saying you're not asking a question on top of a question where you got to give them a chance to answer, and just leading questions definitely helped me in the training at Full Sail. Definitely helped me. That advanced interviewing was a plus when you get people in the room like that. When you're talking to guys who were Pro Bowl players in the NFL, and they were played with arguably the best Detroit Lions player ever to wear a uniform with Barry Sanders, and hearing the stories they had about Barry was awesome. And to be able to ask them a question to get them just to go, hey, what was it like? Tell me your experience, seeing Barry Sanders do this, or what was your favorite play? And just to hear those guys just take that and run was awesome.
Well, I'll be sure to send this clip to Mike Tuck, and I'm sure he'll play it in his class after all the praise you just shared there. And by the way, go ahead.
Mike Tuck was an awesome instructor. I mean, a lot of guys were, Mike Condren. Mark Condren, he was a little bit getting all the framing right and everything like that was tough at times, but and two guys that really stood out in the program for me were definitely yourself and Jeff. Jeff Shessel, man, his tutelage and you guys, the way you guys instructed, because if you guys don't know, like Rishi said, he was one of the first instructors in the program. But by the time I graduated, they were evolved. So not only did I get them on the front end of the program, I got them on the back end. It was crazy,
You're like, no.
I loved it because I knew you guys were going to give me the right thing to do.
Did you ever play Mike Tyson's Punch Out on Nintendo?
Yes.
All right. So the way that I would describe it when I first switched the class and when I would teach the second, I may have even said this to you, who knows? You're old enough, Curt. You could
Mm,
get this one. But I used to say it was like Mike Tyson's Punch Out. The first time you'd face Pista Honda, yeah, he wasn't too hard to beat.
yeah,
Second time he was harder. First time you faced Don Flamenco, easy to crush, right?
yeah.
Second time you faced Don Flamenco, yeah, he was still easy, but a little bit harder. So that was always like I grade a little bit harder than I did. I'm like Mike Tyson's Punch Out. The second time you see me, it'll be a little tougher. So
Yeah, but you know what though? Uh, the guys that I came up with in the class, we relished being in your class. We were like, we know he's gonna be tough on us, and he know he's gonna be give us what we need to succeed. Because it's all about every time you're instructing someone and being an instructor in the army for a short bit of time, it was always about making someone better. It was always giving them the tools to making sure that when they left your class, they were better than what they were when they came in. And that's what you guys made sure you it did for us. Uh, Jeff did a wonderful job on a small block of instructions about podcasting. And he taught me some things I didn't know about the industry. And I had been podcasting for almost 2 years by then. And it was some things, just some audio edits that helped me out. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. And I still use that to this day. And I've been out of the program almost a year now.
nice.
And I
I love
still
it.
use that to this day.
Well, that's what we're here for, right? We're trying to help you do what you want to do for a living, and I'm glad that's worked out for you, Curt.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for the bonus round. You ready for it? So what
Let's
I'm
do
going to
it.
do, I'm going to throw questions, all dream related at you. They're not really, I guess they are
Mhm.
questions. And you need to kind of rapid refire. You can think for a second, but kind
Okay.
of rapid fire answer. All right. So I got
Mhm.
7 of them for you. It's the super 7. I haven't named them yet. This is only my 4th time doing this podcast.
Let's do it.
All
Let's do
right.
it.
Dream Detroit Lions free agent pickup.
Cool. Jalen Ramsey,
Why?
secondary. He loves a secondary coach with Aubrey Pleasant, who coached him out there in LA. He would be a great addition, and he would definitely lock down that secondary for the Detroit Lions.
See, that's the kind of inside knowledge that people come to Curt Steele for. He made that connection like that. All right. Dream Thanksgiving Day experience for you.
Oh, 50-yard line, Ford Field. Too easy.
Bears 63, Lions 14. Just kidding. Dream podcast guest.
Dream podcast guest, Dan Campbell.
Oh, all right. Well, you could probably make that happen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys, I guess you kind of just took care of that, but I was going to say dream seating experience at a stadium. What I mean by that is what would the seats be like? Like, how could you live the perfect NFL life at a stadium?
At a stadium?
Yeah.
Lower level, 50-yard line, unlimited beers.
Sounds like a plan. Well, after you do that, don't get into this. Your dream car.
Oh, dream car. Easy. Navy or royal blue Corvette.
Oh, why not Honolulu blue?
Well, Chevrolet doesn't make Honolulu blue. They don't.
Wow, that's your dream.
It had to be specially painted like color. So I think I can get them to do that. Yeah. So yeah,
right.
Honolulu blue Corvette. I get that. Yeah.
All right. Dream for your son in life.
Dream for my son in life that he could be the happiest that he ever could be.
Well, I'm sure that you've gone a long way toward making that happen. You're such a good father in addition to being an excellent broadcaster. All right, final one. I think I may know where you may go with this. Dream broadcasting opportunity. Could be an event, could be an experience. Dream broadcasting opportunity.
They gotta be broadcasting the Lions in the Super Bowl. That's too easy. That is too easy. Sitting next to Dan Miller, who covers the Lions on their radio network. That guy is a great play-by-play guy. So I would love to do it with him. I would want to be his color analyst for that show.
I'm sure that Dan will be thrilled to hear that of anyone in the world you could sit next to, you picked him. So very good.
Yeah.
All right, Curt. Well, it's been a fun time. Really appreciate you taking the time to be on the show. Any closing thoughts from you before we wrap tonight?
Wait, one thing I will say, I would like to thank the Dan Patrick School for giving me the tools to succeed. I mean, you guys really gave me the hands-on experience and the knowledge to do what I do. And the things I learned from yourself and Jeff Schetzel, and like I said, Debbie Taylor, and Christine, it- and just the Jeff Radcliffe. I mean, you guys really do a great job over there at the school, and I see my counterparts out there doing big things as well. And I just so proud. What's the name? Taylor Cole, I think is his name. I see him out here doing a local sports cast, and you see him seeing my fellow graduates of the program doing well. It's always good.
Well, it's always good to spend time with Curt Steele, and I'm hoping to get some chances to talk some NFL football with him over the course of the season.
Oh,
It's almost here, Curt. It's
yeah,
almost
it's
here, man.
almost here. We got another 11 days to the first Lions game. The NFL season starts officially next Thursday with the first game of the year. This is the unofficial or official bye week for the league. After I'm well versed in this stuff. Because you have to have a bye week because of the season being now 17 games. You took away a preseason game, so they gave you an extra bye week from the leagues. Happy bye week to the league. And I can't wait for the NFL to start. And I gotta have you on my Fan Media Network show when the Bears play the Lions.
All right, let's book it right now. I'm in. Well, thank you again, Curt Steele, for your time with us. It's been a lot of fun. And this is another edition of the Livin the Dream podcast. And for all of you watching or listening, keep on living the dream. Good night, everybody.